Joining me fresh off last night's victory is Colorado Democratic Senator John Hickenlooper. Senator, thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate you being here. But let's start with your victory last night. We have obviously seen incumbents struggling across the country. And in Colorado, Congresswoman DeGette lost her primary last night. But why do you think you were able to defeat your progressive challenger while she was not?
Well, I'll tell you, we've been working at this for more than a year of really fighting against Trump's chaos in Washington. When he first came in and passed that big bad betrayal act, which took away health care from hundreds of thousands of Coloradans, we pushed back. We fought on that. We continue to fight on that. His tariffs were a ridiculous attack on small business people across Colorado. We did roundtables in every part of the state. You look at what he's done with the war and the increase in not just gasoline and diesel costs, but fertilizer, things that farmers and ranchers in Colorado need to be able to get their crops in. He's been relentlessly anti the working person, the small farmer, the small business person, and we've gone to task on that. We went after him on his ice, taking innocent people out of their cars, beating them, locking them up without even a warrant. Deporting them without a hearing. We fought hard I've been to the detention facilities multiple times and gotten people released, gotten people who've been taken out of the country back into the country. And I think part of that is you're fighting, but you also want to make sure you have some results.
Yeah, your opponent, Julie Gonzalez, was still able to win 45% of the vote, which is not nothing. Do you take that margin as a message from Democratic voters, considering you had name ID and a significant fundraising edge on your side?
Well, there's always more work to be done. And I look at right now, the key, people are looking at what divides Democrats. As I said last night, I'm focused on what unites Democrats. And what we are united is that we're going to take back the Senate. We're going to take back the House. We're united that we're going to hold this president accountable for all that they've done to harm this country and make sure we stop them before they can destroy this country. That's what unites us.
In your victory speech last night, as you mentioned, you emphasized Democrats are united, but we have seen some really deep divides between progressives and moderates in the party. Senator, do you welcome the rise of the Democratic Socialist movement within the party?
Listen, since I first got into politics, I've always been about a bigger tent and looking at how do we get more people focusing on what really matters. And I want to run with people that want to restore health care to the millions of people who have lost it since Donald Trump came into office. I want to run with people that are going to create a better opportunity for working people to get paid more and to have lower costs to their lives. We've got a cost of living emergency that's going on that's directly the result of Donald Trump, where at the end of the month, many, many working people are having a hard time figuring out, am I going to be able to make my payment for my health care insurance? Can I pay my rent? How am I going to get through to the next month? That's nonsense. We're the wealthiest country in the world. And I think a big tent where we welcome everybody who wants to make sure people get their health care back, make sure that there are good, well-paying jobs available, that's what's going to unite us.
Do you think the leadership should do a better job of embracing these DSA candidates?
Well, I think we all have to embrace this bigger tent. We have to recognize that we're going to disagree on sometimes very key issues that we care about. But our focus has to be on winning the House and winning the Senate, and ultimately in 2028, taking back the White House. And to do that, we need the big tent. We need to unite around those things that really matter. And we have to have a program out there that shows here's how we're going to get to universal coverage, right? We may disagree on which pathway we're going to get, but most everybody in the Democratic Party wants universal health care coverage. And I think that's the kind of thing that's going to allow us to take back power in this country and restore some of the things we used to take for granted before it's completely destroyed by the Trump administration.
Well, Senator, let's talk about what happens if Democrats do retake the Senate this fall. You told the Denver Post earlier this month that you don't think Senator Schumer wants to continue as party leader. What gives you that impression?
Well, I haven't talked to him in a good while, but certainly he was getting beat up day in and day out. Nobody likes that. I can't imagine a harder job to manage either caucus, but especially the Democratic caucus, where you have so many people with so many viewpoints that are so strongly held, and yet somehow the leader has to maintain that big tent. So I have no inside information. I'm not saying he's not going to run. I wouldn't blame him if he got frustrated by the relentless attacks. He's got to be on top of, the fundraising and building that bigger tent 24 hours a day.
If he's taking such a beating, do you want to see him run for leader again?
I'm not going to tell you. The one thing you learn, at least I've learned, is I don't try and tell anybody in politics, they should do this or should do that.
But would you support him if he did run?
Well, let's see where we get there. I think he's done in so many ways. As a fundraiser, as someone who's put his life on hold while he works for the benefit of this country, I think he brings a lot to the table.
So not necessarily a yes, not a no. You're waiting to see.
Well, I have been supporting him. I am continuing to support him. Let's put it that way.
Senator, let's turn to the other major story facing your state this week. Several wildfires are burning, including the Snyder Fire, which has killed 3 firefighters. Has Colorado gotten what it needs from the federal government to contain these fires? Yeah, so far. I went out there on Sunday, on Monday, and we went to what they call the Incident Command Center and got a briefing from the head of the federal firefighting team, and I was totally I was satisfied. Let's put it that way. That they're doing the best they can, and that they've got adequate resources. Right now there are 9 wildfires in Colorado. There are more than that in Utah. There's a huge pressure on our resources, and we're already beginning to see some shortages in terms of various aspects of firefighting. So as this summer goes on, and we're looking at a wildfire season in Idaho and Montana, in the Pacific Northwest, it is not foolish to imagine that we're going to run out or run short of supplies. And certainly when the Trump administration decided they wanted to reorganize their approach to firefighting before what we knew, because of the drought, that this was going to be one of the worst wildfire seasons in a long, long time. So far, I think they're doing a good job. But I am certainly concerned that an awful lot of people are in new jobs, and there's new regions and people trying to figure things out on the fly. Generally, that's not the way I've tried to do things when you're dealing with really potentially devastating situations. Senator John Hickenlooper, thank you.
Thank you.
We thank you for watching, and remember, stay updated on breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or watch live on our YouTube channel.